What's up everybody, my name is Samuel and I am the development manager at GoLedger. Today I'm going to show you how to deploy a data sharing network using GoFabric. GoFabric is a tool that makes it easy for you to deploy a permission blockchain using Hyperledger Fabric. So anybody can access this technology without any code experience. GoFabric not only deploys the network itself, but also all of the modules that you need to interact with it, such as a custom web interface and an API that you can use to integrate your company's current systems. So before we jump into GoFabric, we're going to come here to AWS. I have set up 3 instances here, and this will be the machines we're going to deploy our network. Of course, you can use any other cloud service, or you can use a local server if your company has one. This is no problem. So let's go to GoFabric. So first of all, we're going to create our chain code. If you're not familiar with Hyperledger Fabric, you might have heard the name smart contract. In Fabric, we call it chain code. So we're gonna head into templates. GoFabric makes it easy for you to create your chain code without having to code anything. So we'll be creating a chain code to keep track of vaccines and patients in a hospital chain. So we're gonna click in Manage Templates and New Template. Okay. So we're gonna call our template Immuno Template and add a description, track vaccines and patients. Okay. So now we have to add our assets. So we're gonna hit create new, and our first asset will be the vaccine itself. So vaccine, and we're gonna add properties to this asset. So we might add the vaccine itself. That will be the name, for example, of the disease. So vaccine. It's gonna be a string, add. And we're going to add a description to this vaccine, and it's going to be a string also. So now we're going to create another asset, and we're going to name this vaccine lot. And for the vaccine lot, we're going to have some important properties. For example, we're going to have an ID, something that identifies the lot. We're going to have the quantity of the lot, the expiration date for the vaccines, and the vaccine type. So first one, the ID is going to be a key because it's going to identify the lot, and it's going to be a string. The second one is going to be a quantity. It's going to be a number. The third one is going to be the expiration date, and it's going to be a date time. And the final one is going to be the vaccine type. And the vaccine type is going to reference the assets that we created before, so we can see which type of vaccine this lot is from. So for example, if we have a vaccine type for yellow fever, then we can reference that this lot is from the vaccine type yellow fever. Okay, and since we want to keep track of patients, we are going to create another asset that's going to represent the patient. So patient, the patient is going to have all of the normal fields that you would expect to identify a patient. So I don't know, government ID, a name, patients have name, and finally date of birth, which is going to be a date time. All right, now we have 3 assets. We're going to create another one. This is the final one, which will represent when the vaccine was administered to the patient. So we're going to call this vaccine administration. So vaccine administration is going to have 4 important properties. It's going to reference the patient, it's going to reference the vaccine lot, and it's going to have the place where the patient took the vaccine and the date. So we're going to add the patient first. Then we're going to reference the vaccine lot, okay, and place, which is going to be a string, and finally the date, which is going to be date time. So we have these 4 assets. We have our name, we have our description. I think everything's in order, so we hit submit, and our template was created successfully. Okay, so now we can head into deploy and start defining our network. So for this example, we're going to have 3 hospitals, and each one of them will be represented by one of the machines that we created. You can think of these machines as local servers inside the hospital. So the first one, we're gonna name, I don't know, St. John's Hospital. Second one, we'll name St. Peter's Hospital. And the final one, maybe a community hospital, we're gonna name com-hosp for short. So we have to define the CA information. The CA, if you don't know it, is the certificate authority. It's the module that is responsible for creating all of the certificates that will represent the organization inside the network. The CA address will be the IP of the first machine that we created. So I'm gonna copy here, paste. And then you have to set up credentials, of course, and be sure to store it somewhere safe. So I'm gonna call it admin John's and the password. And we're going to use the same IP to deploy our nodes. So peer and orderer, those are necessary for the network to work. And then we're going to check chain code API and web interface. So this will deploy an API and an interface so we can operate in the blockchain. Okay, so on to St. Peter's now. I'm gonna do the same thing, exact same thing. And finally, the com-hosp, community hospital. Okay, so let's check that again. Since everything is in order. Oh, seems I forgot the orderer here. And then we can move to the next step. GoFabric also supports cloud templates that are provided by us. And also it supports, if you want to get your hands a little dirty, you can provide your own source code for the chain code and we'll deploy with the network. So for now, we're going to deploy with the template we created. So hit template, we have to define a channel name and a network name. And we're going to choose the template, Immuno template, okay. And here we can see all of our assets, and we can also give permissions for each organization to write on that asset. So let's say that St. John's is the biggest hospital, and it is the one that receives all the vaccines, and then it receives and stores and then distributes the vaccines to the other hospitals. So we could say that St. John's is the only one that can create new vaccine lot because it's the one that receives it. So we're going to come to vaccine lot and we're gonna check the writer St. John. And we can do this for all of the properties too. And for the rest, we're gonna enable everyone to write on them. So we're gonna hit start and then keep an eye on the cards so we can see our network deploying. I'm gonna accelerate this part so we can get into the dashboard. So now we are almost done and success. Okay, so once we have our network up and running, we land into the dashboard, and the dashboard provides at a glance information about the network. So we have here all of the hospitals that we deployed. We have also a block view, and once we start transaction, we're gonna have a transaction count here. So let's do just that. So we can come here and open our web client. It's going to access one of the machines, in this case St. John's web interface. So this interface is completely custom. GoFabric takes care and generates it according to the chain code that you deployed. So here we have a pretty simple interface. We can come here and check all of our assets, and let's create one. So let's come into vaccine. We don't have records to display, so let's create one. And let's say this vaccine is for yellow fever, and the description, let's say single dose vaccine, and submit. Okay, we can see that our vaccine was created successfully, so we can come back and check our records. Then with this vaccine created, we can create a vaccine lot. So we don't have records, let's create one. Let's say the ID is 00003, I don't know. And let's say it came with 100 vaccines. And the expiration date of this vaccine is, let's say, December of 2020, maybe, let's say. And the vaccine type is yellow fever, the one that we just created. So submit. Okay, our vaccine lot was created. Nice. If we go back to the dashboard, you can see that transactions started to pop up here, right? And we have more blocks. So with each transaction, blocks are created and transactions appear. So the second one just showed up. Let's continue. Do you remember, right, that we allowed only St. John's to create vaccine lots? So let's open the interface of St. Peter's and let's try to create another vaccine lot. We are here, St. Peter's, right? You can see the vaccine lot does not show up here. So we cannot create a vaccine lot with St. Peter's. If we do that to ComHosp, same thing. So let's say that John Doe went to the community hospital to get a yellow fever vaccine. So let's open the ComHosp interface and create a new patient called John Doe. So let's create a patient, okay? And let's say the government ID is okay, and his name is John Doe, and let's say he was born on the 28th of April 1997. Okay, and submit. Patient created successfully. One thing that is interesting is that this data is shared, right? So we can come into St. John's interface and check the patients, and this patient, John Doe, will appear here, even though he was created in the ComHosp. Okay, so let's close this and let's come back to ComHosp, and let's say that John Doe got his vaccine. So let's create a vaccine administration date. So the patient will be John Doe. This is the identifier. The vaccine lot will be the 0003 of yellow fever. The place is going to be the community hospital, and the date will be today. Submit. Vaccine administration created successfully. So now we can check our records. We can check the vaccine records, and if we are St. John's, we can check the vaccine lot. And if I click here in the vaccine administration and visualize it, I have all of the information. I have the information of the patient, all of the patient information. I have the vaccine lot, I have the quantity, I have the expiration date, all in the vaccine administration card. So you don't need to check the ID of the patient and then go to a different database. It's all here and all integrated. We show assets inside assets, so it's pretty easy. And that's how easy you can create a blockchain and use it to whatever need you have. Of course, this is a web interface provided by us, but we provide also an API that you can use to integrate with your current system. So for example, one of the hospitals could have a page so users could check vaccine availability before going to the hospital, and this would be integrated and updated instantly according to the data coming from the blockchain. So that's it. Thank you guys, and I see you in the next one.